Likewise, sir. It's a pleasure to meet you, sir.
Sure, no problem. You don't have to call me sir. Thomas is fine.
Okay. Okay. So I have 7 years of work experience with IT. I was a developer initially, and after that I was into pre-sales, sir. So for pre-sales I was doing cybersecurity pre-sales.
Right.
So I worked in India for 3 years, 3.5 years, and then 3.5 years I worked in Thailand with cybersecurity. So initially, sir, my thought was actually when I took MBA, my thought was to switch the field from technology to some FMCG. However, sir, seeing the situation, the pandemic, it seems unlikely that FMCG would hire a experienced person of technology into a freshers role or any experienced role. So I again moved back to the same. I am again applying in the technology sector. I in fact gave interview for PwC as well. So Sandeep Bagmare was the one who interviewed me.
Right.
So my profile is on hold as of now with PwC.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what I'm looking at, sir, for now.
Right. Okay. And okay. And what topic did you want to discuss?
Sir, basically, for the discussion, I was just like, for now, for in the pandemic, which field should I try to tap? Because right now, what I'm doing is I did a development work, I did the cybersecurity work. So I am trying to get into both, whichever takes me. But that doesn't seems to be taking me anywhere as of now.
See, every company, depending on the level, if you want to get into a sector that you don't have experience, then they will consider you should be willing to go in at a lower level and they will absorb you. That's But if you are going into an area that you have experience, then obviously the level at which you can go in will be more senior than getting into a new area, right? This is the pandemic related issues, in my view, are going to be temporary because the world has to move on. It cannot remain. The pandemic, COVID is not going to go away in the next 1 or 2 or 3 years. I don't think even COVID will ever go. It is only the vaccine that is going to come in. So I have a view that just like we have flu or any other diseases that has come in, this COVID is going to be a new disease, in my personal opinion, forever. It has come and it will never go, right? What is going to happen is a vaccine will come, and when a new vaccine will come in, then the issues related to COVID will not be there anymore, but COVID will continue. People will have vaccine and hence you don't have any problem, right? So, and the world will go back to normal business in the next, I don't know, maybe as soon as we have vaccine, then vaccine may take 1 or 2 years or maybe 1.5 years, and the world will go back to normal, right? So assuming that the pandemic related economic depression will remain forever is not going to be the case, right? And when people are considering, see, I think there is a misperception in my view on people are giving a lot of importance to the experience that people have before the MBA, unless you have 5, 6, 7 years of very high-end experience, right? Because I can give you my own example. I used to work in Larsen & Toubro for the software department for around 5 to 6 years, right? And after an MBA, we want to go into a management role, correct? And before an MBA, if you have worked in a management role, then that is very valuable. If you have not worked in a management role, what you did is not important. It is just that you have work experience interacting with people. You understand what I'm saying, right? See, just because I worked in the software department of Larsen & Toubro, I have no credibility to be in a management role of Larsen & Toubro. You see, there's no relationship between I used to think when I was in AIM that since I worked in Larsen and Toubro for 4 to 5 years, I have an advantage to go back to Larsen and Toubro. No, that's not the case, because your software writing experience is not more important for Larsen and Toubro versus somebody who may have done if somebody has done a management role in a consumer goods, that experience is more important for a management role in Larsen and Toubro. Are you getting where I'm coming from? Right? Because your software writing role was not important for a management role. But at the same time, let us not also think that not having experience is relevant. That is not correct. Having experience means that you know how a company works. What are the issues in managing people? What are the politics in an organization? So if you work 2 years, you understand the politics for 2 years. If you work for 5 years, you understand the politics and organizational dynamics for 5 years. If you have 10 years of work experience, you understand organization for 10 years. You see what I'm trying to say? So what is important is that in the years of experience that you have, it is just that you have got skills of how a business is working, how to handle people, how to manage people, and all. That is the experience you are getting. The technical skills, unfortunately, is not very relevant when you come into a management role. And we are, including myself, we had this wrong perception, right? Are you getting what I'm trying to explain?
Yeah, actually, I have the same perception, sir, which you are saying right now, that because I already have an experience, I have the coding experience, the programming experience, it should be like, it should be relevant to what I do now going forward.
No, it's not. Let me give you a very simple example in a consulting experience. Okay, so somebody has worked in a telecom sector for, let us say, 2 to 3 years, right? And they come to ADL and say, Thomas, I have 3 years of work experience in the telecom sector, and hence I should be considered as a telecom strategy consultant. Correct? See, when a client, the client who's giving us projects is somebody like Geo wants us to do the strategy, right? Mukesh Ambani is coming to Arthur D. Little and he wants us to help them to do the Geo strategy. Correct? He comes to Arthur D. Little or McKinsey or BCG or Bain to do a strategy. They are not coming to Arthur D. Little or McKinsey or BCG. I'm just being very blunt and transparent in this discussion, right? They are not interested in somebody who has 3 years of experience. It's irrelevant for them. They are immaterial to them, to be very blunt. They are looking at people who have done telecom consulting for 10, 15 years. Correct? So whether I have somebody with 2 years experience, there are, sorry, again, I'm very blunt. There are thousands of people, thousands and thousands of people in the market who has done 3 years of experience in telco. So they will not come and give a project to Arthur D. Little because I have people who have 3 years, 4 years experience. Not at all. You see what I'm saying? But what is important is that when you worked in telco for 3 years, when we interview you, we are not interviewing you for your telco experience. We are trying to see within 3 years, if you could become good in telco, before you went into telco for 3 years, you knew nothing about telco, correct? In 3 years, you became good in telco. That means if I put you in financial services for 3 years, you will also become good in financial services, correct?
That's correct.
If a person went into telco and after 3 years, he doesn't know anything about telco, the same person, if I put in financial services after 3 years, will not know anything about financial services. The point is whether the person is smart to absorb something new. That is what we are evaluating, not whether you know telco. So when we ask you questions about whether you know telco, we are not checking your expertise in telco, because in 3 years, you will not be able to match the expertise of a person who has 20 years experience who's interviewing you. You cannot. He has 20 years experience in telco. What he's trying to understand is, in 3 years time, how much has this person picked up? And we are not analyzing what you picked up. We are analyzing the capability of you to pick up something new. And what we are making a conclusion is, this person in 3 years has understood X amount about telco. That means this person I put in financial services, in shipping, in logistics, in consumer goods, is a very smart person. They will pick up any new topic and hence he's a good consultant. You see where I'm coming from? So we always confuse the relevance of an experience when we come out of an MBA. I'm telling you, we always have a wrong impression. 100% of the people, including myself, all of us had a wrong impression about what does experience means when you come out of an MBA. You see, because we are all coming in to get into senior management roles, right? The industry experience you are getting before MBA is so insignificant in that whole scheme of things. They're looking at your personality. What are you? Are you a good, intelligent, smart communicator, analytical skills? And then when you put you in a management role, you'll pick up very quickly, or you will not pick up because you're not good. If you're good, you pick up. If you're not good, you will not pick up. Unless you have some 10 years experience in oil and gas or something like that. You know, it's not completely irrelevant, but 2 to 3 years experience is not somebody considers it is very important for a management role after your MBA. You see where I'm coming from, right? So so you should always try to. Am I clear or am I confusing you?
No, sir, that's actually very much clear, because I give interviews keeping this in mind, that I have certain amount of experience and I come from there. But right now it's more about they analyze the capabilities of me absorbing the business aspect of the company, not the technical aspect.
Correct. See, let us say you have experience in writing codes. That's what you said, like whatever, right?
Right.
When we are asking you about, we are giving you a case and asking you how did you solve it, the person who is asking you may have done 10 years of experience on that. So he's not checking your experience. He's checking how are you structuring the discussion. He's not checking about your experience in telco. He's checking how are you handling the discussion? How are you structuring the reply? Are you clear in your mind? Are you structuring the discussions very carefully? Are you taking 10 minutes for something that needs only 2 minutes? That's what people are, because when you're in a management role, let us say you are in a management role, right? You are a middle management level and you are going to talk to Anil Ambani, right? Anil Ambani doesn't have half an hour to listen to you. I'm giving you a real world example, right? Anil Ambani has only 5 minutes to listen to us. Like if I go to Anil Ambani for a discussion, he has only 5 minutes. So they are checking, can Thomas handle discussions in 5 minutes? If it takes 1 hour, he's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. So we are checking how clear are you in your thought process? How clear are you able to structure issues? How clearly are you able to communicate the message you have in mind? Nobody is checking for your technical skills. Nobody is checking that. It may look like they are checking, but they are not. They are not. They're checking for other management skills, right? Like I can give you more examples in interview. Like when we are conducting an interview to bring in people into consulting firms, it's a very interesting observation. Let me just share with you. When we interview candidates, I have a set of questions by which I will 100% make you give me a wrong answer. I can challenge all of you now. I can ask you a question right now, and I will continue the question first level, second level, third level, fourth level, till you make a mistake. Okay? And the person who's answering the question thinks that answering the mistake is a problem. And if I give a wrong answer, I lost the interview. That is the perception of 100% of the candidates feeling. I repeat, 100% of the candidates think that the moment they give a wrong answer, they feel they lost the interview. No. The decision that we take on whether to hire the person or not is how the person conducts himself after I tell him that he made a mistake. And I will tell you, 80% of the people, when they made a mistake, they try to cover it up, or they come up with some funny arguments. You know, I made a little bit mistake, or I forgot to brush up and all of that. That is 80% of the people. There are 2 to 3 people out of 100 people that you interview are very excited to learn something new. Oh, they say, oh, Thomas, oh shit, man, so I made a mistake. Can you explain to me where did I go wrong? So he's not worried that he made a mistake. He's happy that I learned something new. You see? And he thinks he lost the interview. But this is the candidate I hire 100%. Why? Because the quality that is required is not that you don't make a mistake. Everybody makes mistake. The quality that we want is a person who is willing to learn and the person who is open to be proven wrong and correct himself. That is what we are looking for. We are not looking for people who doesn't make a mistake. You get what I'm saying, right? I don't know whether you're getting the gist of what I'm trying to convey.
Actually, sir, I am trying to understand the interviews I gave, and this is what exactly happened with me. So I'm actually relating a lot right now. And I was also trying to not give the wrong answer there.
So you should always try not to give the wrong answer. That's not what I'm saying. Yeah. You should always try to give the correct answer. Right. The point is that making a mistake is never a problem. It is how you react to a situation when you make a mistake is by far the most important quality of a manager. Because these days you have managers who are, allow me to be blunt, like shit, right? They cover up the mistakes. If they have a mistake, they hide it from the boss. If a consultant makes a mistake, he tries to cover it up. I don't want such people. I want people who say, oh, sorry, I made a mistake, let me correct it. I love such people. You see where I'm coming from, right? So we have a wrong perception about what people are looking for in an interview of MBA candidates. We really have a wrong perception of what are people looking for. Right.
Got it, sir.
Sorry, yeah. Go ahead.
So, sir, the other thing which I am still very much confused about is, should I mean, right now when I'm applying through LinkedIn and I'm applying numerous jobs a day, seeing like, okay, they need a technology consultant or they need some security consultant, something like that. So which one should I not apply? Because I'm applying everything. Which one should I not apply? Especially, sir, I'm also applying for the managerial roles, but it is based on my previous experience or something like that, but managerial roles. So should I still apply to that? Because I get replies from the companies. However, for some reason, there is no interview call.
There is no interview call.
Yeah, I get a message, okay, we'll schedule or whatever. And sir, also I am mostly looking here in the Philippines.
See, there is no magic answer for this. If you're very excited about a particular company or a particular job, I will tell you something which is very unique. You should be willing to tell them I will work for you for free for 2 to 3 months. Let me give you one input. Yeah, I don't think even Nigel knows that or he may believe it. Arthur D. Little rejected me twice. I did not clear the interview in Arthur D. Little. I went to Melbourne. I was on exchange program in Melbourne Business School. They rejected me in Melbourne Business School. I came to Singapore to apply for Arthur D. Little. Again, they rejected me. They said, Thomas, you are not qualified. And some shit they told me, right? They told me my communication skills are not okay. I have a very heavy accent. My hands are moving all over the place. We don't know where to look at. Do I look at your hand? Do I look at your face? Where do I look? You are so distracted. Some natak they told me. They said, Thomas, you are so confusing. And they rated me. So in the interview form, they had something called analytical skills and they have something called communication skills, right? So there are 10 criteria. So the first 5 criteria is related to analytical skills, structural skills, intelligent, and all of that. The bottom 5 was English, language, communication, all of that. So bottom 5, I failed. At the top 5, I had the highest score, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, and the remaining 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. It's out of 5. And in Arthur D. Little, if you don't score 4, you don't get the job, right? So you're supposed to get 4 almost everywhere and 1 or 2 3s, right? I got 5s and 2s, right? And they told me, I worked for 3 months for free in Arthur D. Little. I told them I work for free. You keep me there. And it was a very funny incident. Just for the fun of it, I will explain to you what really happened. They told me, Thomas, your communication skills are not good. We don't understand what you're talking about. Your hands are moving all over the place and all some bullshit they told me. I said, if my communication skills are not good, if you cannot understand what I'm saying, how did you conclude that I'm analytically strong? You have to understand me to start with, right? How can you tell me that I'm analytically strong? I am intelligent. If you cannot, if you don't understand what I'm talking about, how did you give me 5 to start with? And then, that is why you're analytically strong. I said, but my communication also is good for you to understand that. No, like how can you say 5 and say you don't understand? You understood me to say I'm analytically strong, right? Again, that's the point. Is I worked for 3 months for free in Arthur Relative, and then they gave me the job. I did not clear the interview, right? So again, so there are multiple ways of you. Either you can go and do a mass application, and it's luck, right? You don't know where is the opportunity and where your CV is going to strike. And then I'm not saying it is right or wrong, right? You may be lucky and you may get a good job and all of that. But if you really want a particular company or a particular job, you go there and you tell them, forget everything, no interview, nothing, no job, nothing. I'm working for free now for 2 to 3 days.
Okay, sir.
But I don't think many people do that. But if you're, but that means you're really keen in a particular job in a particular company. And since you have done an MBA, I don't think anybody will say no to somebody who's saying that. Arthur D. Little could not say no to me. He said, like, I'm working for free. What is wrong with you? Come on, give me a job.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah.
Okay, I got the point.
But that is a bit, you have to be quite careful, because you should not allow people to misuse that.
Unconventional approach, sir.
Correct. Yeah, because sometimes if the company may misuse that, because what they may do is they may know that you're working for free and they have no intentions of giving you a job. So you cannot just offer that everywhere, because some companies may not have an intention to give you the job. So for me, before I decided to work with Arthur D. Little for 3 months, I was convinced that if I do well, I will get the job. Right. So when you offer yourself for free, you have to be very sure that there is a job and they have the genuine intent to give you the job if you are good. Right. Otherwise, you will get fooled around by the company. Right. They'll take some free work for you for 3 months and then go away. Right. That's not good enough. Yeah. Yes.
Thank you, sir, for that. I think that clears things for me a lot.
No, sir. Thomas is fine. I said right.
Thank you so much, Thomas.
Yes.
Miss, next, can I go?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. Hello, sir. I am Jagan. Prior to my MBA, I worked for 11 years with consumer goods companies like Unilever and L'Oreal.
What level did you reach by the 11th year?
I had been M1 manager.
Yeah, okay. So this is correct. So once you have, if you have 11 years of work experience and you have been in a managerial position, that whatever I said is not applicable in your case, right? Because you have been operating at a managerial level, right?
Yeah.
So you will definitely have an advantage in companies doing similar operations. Yeah, correct.
So my I have worked as a scientist there,
right?
A product development scientist. I specialize in development of sustainable technologies for food and personal care applications.
Right.
And after 11 years, I thought that I need more exposure, because I came into Unilever with MSc degree, Master of Science in Biochemistry degree. So I have been a very technical guy initially, then moved on. Actually, after my MSc, I joined at Indian Institute of Science, a institute called Indian Institute of Science, as junior research fellow.
Yes, so, I'm aware of that.
Yeah. Then
Bangalore, right?
Yeah, Bangalore.
Correct.
Then I realized that that is not what I want, because the way of life and career progression is not is not what I want, because of certain family constraints, because I needed to earn quickly. My father was retired by that time. So I joined a startup company, then Unilever, then L'Oreal. Over the years, I moved to different positions, and I used to do some consumer science, product development, then sustainability. Of late, I was doing portfolio program and portfolio management as well as sustainability things.
Right.
Now, my question is that, sir, that am I good fit for consulting roles?
See
If
again,
so,
let me give you again. People have a very, very wrong perception about what is required to get into consulting. It is zero weightage for the technical skills that you have before coming into consulting. It is more about structuring skills, communication skills, intelligence, analytical skills, and all of that. So whether somebody is suitable for consulting or not consulting, answering that question cannot depend on what is your actual work experience in the past, right? See, if you look at people who are clearing why is it that people who are doing well in classes, class toppers, tend to get selected into consulting? Their work experience is never different than the others. You see, I'm just trying to give you a full picture. If you go through your senior people or junior people or all the people that you know in AIM or anywhere you have gone through, the work experience is not different or is not better for the people who are in the top 3 of the class. No, correct? It is, why is that they are getting more marks, for example? It is because they are hardworking or more intelligent or more, and they tend to get into consulting. You see, I'm just using this as an example to explain to you the criteria for consulting. The work experience is irrelevant. What we are checking is, if you are able to become class topper, you will be good wherever we put you. That's the point. What you did is irrelevant. So what we check you is, if you were in marketing, were you a good marketer? Even when you write software, it is okay. A person who has not done any managerial job, has done coding, and somebody has been a manager for 2 years, the manager doesn't get an advantage when they come to consulting. If the person who did coding was a better coder than the marketer who was doing marketing, we prefer the person who did coding, because just that the person is a good person. That's why she's good in coding, because the person who did marketing did not know marketing in the beginning. The person who did coding did not know coding in the beginning. So the person who did coding better knows she's able to learn something faster than the person who did marketing. You see what I'm trying to say? So it is not that you did marketing or coding or no. Whatever you did, are you the best?
Yeah.
You see, so that is required for consulting. That is why we tend to select people who are doing good in class, because the assumption is, if you can be good in class out of 50 people, you will be one of the best if you put you in consulting. That's the logic.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yeah.
And these days, this is getting more and more important, because what is happening, the world is changing so much. Your past experience is not only irrelevant, it is actually wrong. Because if you take any sector, you take healthcare, you take telecoms, you take, maybe energy is slightly different, right? Even let us say you have been doing marketing. The way we used to market 10 years back and today is like completely irrelevant. So if I have done telecoms, the telecom sector has changed. Healthcare sector has changed. The food industry has changed. Automotive sector has changed. So what is important is people who can learn and adapt, not what you know. It's irrelevant. You see where I'm coming from, right? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Sandeep or Jagannath, you have something to ask?
No, sir.
Okay, Sandeep, you want to go ahead? Sandeep Mishra. Okay. Amrut or Sandeep. Sandeep.
Hi, Thomas. Good evening.
Yes.
Thomas, prior to my MBA, I have around 8 years of experience into energy, specifically into the power segment. I worked with L&T for around 5.5 years in the initial
Right.
onset of my career. Later on, I moved to General Electric as a lead product engineer, specializing into product domains, anything products and selling it across the globe for them. I did my MBA. I actually wanted to switch industries, but as Aditya mentioned, and I'm also curious in knowing that, looking at the current scenario of the pandemic, it's very hard that I'm continuously hearing that your relevant experiences and your prior experiences will matter most. And my main aim was to switch industries while doing MBA. That's the major reason I
So which
went
industry
to
do you want? Which industry did you want to move?
my interest currently lies into the finance, specifically into project finance roles, because I also wanted to have a touch with my previous infrastructure industrial experiences. So I'm also applying to certain consulting companies wherein the roles is project finance. They require somebody who's industry and infrastructure background. Uh, I also have two different engineering degrees, so I wanted to have a touch with those, my background. But at the same time, I wanted to have a role, some roles into the financial background. So the work should be related to finances more. So how do you suggest me to approach right
No,
now?
this is good.
What's
See, your experience is quite interesting for project finance. See, project finance, they always like people who have done in large projects and all of that. So that you should have an advantage on that, because the fundamentals of project finance and all has not changed with all this technological change and digitalization. That has not changed a finance sector or a project finance or a feasibility analysis, and that has not changed. I cannot imagine any change happening on that related to the changes that's happening in the world today. So that is something that you can definitely pursue, and your experience is quite suitable, since you seems like you have done lots of projects in energy, oil and gas and all of that. That is very suitable for project financing, and that you should be able to get into project financing even if the market is tough. And you may try what I suggested, to go to companies that you think are very interested, you are interested in, and tell them that I can work at any terms and conditions that you are suggesting, and then see that I'm good, and then switch to a proper role. That's what you can do, right? Yeah.
great? Thanks.
The
Thanks.
other thing also that I have noticed is it's a very uh, what I'm going to say may sound very illogical, but again, this is based on so many things I have seen with a lot of people coming to ADL. We always make conclusions that we like something, and that conclusions are most of the time wrong. Most of the time wrong, right? Let me tell you why it is the case, right? Because I've seen many consultants coming and saying that I want to work in telco. Somebody says I want to work in logistics. Somebody says I want to work in financial services, right? And people who say that I like something is based on some experience in that area. But one thing that we are all missing, that let us say there are 10 things in this. I'm going to sound a bit philosophical, right? But let us say there are 10 things in this world. We know only 1 out of 10. Or there are 100 things in this world, you know only 1 out of 100. And based on that, you knowing 1 out of 100, you are deciding what you like and what you dislike. See, your decision about what I like and dislike is based on what you know. Are you getting that point? But 99% of the things you don't know. So how did you decide that you like something, you did not like something? Because you don't have the knowledge of 99% of the things that is available to you to make a judgment of what you like and what you dislike. Are you getting? It's a bit philosophical, but I'm getting the point I'm trying to make. So you have to be very careful when you make judgments early on in your career, in your life, saying that I like this. When I give lectures to MBA students, I give my own example of sports. I'm from a village in Kerala, which is it's a very remote village, which we don't have proper course. So I used to be good in running in sprint. Don't laugh at me looking at my shape, but I used to be good in sprinting, in running. So I thought I like. I used to be actually a school champion in 100 meters and 200 meters. Really, I'm telling you, right? And I thought I liked running. But then after that, when I came to the engineering college, for the first time in my life, I saw a badminton court to play badminton, correct? I started playing badminton and I started liking badminton. The point I'm trying to make is, before that, I did not like badminton. Why? Because I did not play badminton. Then after that, I joined L&D and then I did my MBA. For at least 20-25 years in my life, I used to look at people playing golf and I thought this is the most stupidest thing in life. Correct? Because you whack a ball and walk for half an hour, and then you whack a ball and walk for half an hour. It's like, what is this? This is the most craziest thing in your life. Like, what the shit is going on? This is the most boring thing in life. This is complete shit. There is no way in my life I will love this game. Correct? After I joined ADL, I never liked golf, but some clients insisted that I go and play golf, and I started playing golf. I realized there is no other game there's no other game like golf in which you are fully in control of the game. There's nothing else affecting you. You're not playing against somebody. Like when you're running, you're playing badminton, you're playing cricket, you're playing football. There's always somebody against you. What you achieve depends on what somebody else is doing. Correct? But golf is one of the rare games that what you do has nothing to do with anybody else playing with you. It's between you and the nature. And then I found out that is an amazing game. What I'm trying to explain to you is that, look at the 3 examples I gave you. You started liking something when you know something. But in the beginning, you said, I don't like badminton, I don't like golf, and I like running, because you knew only running. I am just warning all of you, sorry to put it bluntly, that you are saying that I like coding, I like marketing, I like finances, I like consulting, based on very limited knowledge. And your decision about what you like and what you're best at is 90% wrong. I can tell you that also. Because if you agree that you don't know 90% of the things and you know only 10%, and that is the basis for you to decide what you like, what is the probability that what you like is really what you like? It is very, very low. You get what I'm saying? And I have seen that with people who work with me. People who are good in something is good in everything. I'm seriously telling you, somebody is good in telco, I put him in marketing, he's good in marketing. I put him in finance, he's good in finance. I ask him to sweep the floor, he will sweep it better. I ask him to make coffee, he makes a good coffee. If somebody is not good in marketing, I put him in finance, he's bad in finance. I put him in technology, he's bad in technology. I ask him to clean the door, he doesn't know how to clean the door also. So it's not that you're good in something, not good in something. You're either good or you're not good, period. I'm telling you. So you have to concentrate in whatever you are doing, just do it properly. It's not that I get finance, I will do well. If I do marketing, I'm not doing I do coding, I will be good in coding. If I do something I don't like, I will not. No, it's all bullshit. Really, I'm telling you. Whatever you get, just do it properly. That's it.
Amrut, go ahead. Amrut.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Yes.
I had a question, like what are the differences in terms of culture as well as opportunities between the small scale consultancies and big shots like McKinsey and BCG? Is there any difference, or what kind of things are differentiating these companies?
See, the rigor expected in tier 1 consulting is okay. The logic is very simple. To start with, the compensation that a tier 1 consulting firm pays when you finish your MBA and come in is something around $150,000 a year, let us say, right? And a tier 2 consulting firm will pay maybe half of it, let us say. Just because of that, the volume of applicants is maybe 10 times or 15 times, right? The fact that a tier 1 consulting firm has 10 or 15 times the applicants, their criteria of selecting is extremely tight. because they have choice. They have an option to say yes and no, because even if they keep their criteria extremely tight, because there are a lot of people coming to them, they will still get their quota fulfilled, right? So the fundamental is, the starting point is the criteria, the rigorousness in which the screen candidates are extremely tight on for the tier 1 consulting firms, right? And it may even sound improper, because by rejecting somebody based on the school or your class grade is because if you're not the class topper, it's a fifth rank holder as good as a topper. There is no statistics to prove it. There is no statistics to prove that the fifth ranked person is not as good as a first ranked person. There's no statistics. But just because you get so much of application, you need to apply some criteria to screen them, because you cannot interview thousands of people. So they apply a criteria, right? For example, in ADL, if you go to India, we will not take in anybody who is not from IIM, Ahmedabad, Bangalore, or ISB. 3 schools. Does that mean that somebody coming from FMS is not good? No, but we need to have some criteria to put a cutoff. Otherwise, we'll have to interview thousands of students, right? Yeah, so that is one thing. The second thing is, if you're a bit more entrepreneurial, a tier 2 consulting firm is much better. If you're a much more structured person, a tier 1 consulting firm is much better, because a tier 1 consulting firm is a very structured way of conducting business. So you don't have to be entrepreneurial. You just have to be very smart, intelligent, and all of that. You don't have to handle uncertainties in a tier 1 consulting firm, because it is very well structured. They have a clear hierarchy. There are partners, there are principals, managers, consultants, analysts. There are people to help you. There are frameworks to be there. So it is more suitable for people who are very intelligent but prefer a very structured environment. In a tier 2 consulting firm, if you're very entrepreneurial, if you're very innovative, if you're very capable of taking decisions on your own, a tier 2 firm is actually much better than a tier 1 firm. Because in a tier 1 firm, while they give you all the structure and flexibility, it also limits your ability to show yourself, because there are conditions and boundaries around your work, right? So even if you're very good, you cannot expose it, because there are other people, there are guidelines in how they work. You see what I'm saying, right? So if you're very entrepreneurial, actually a tier 1 consulting firm is not good. Actually, it is not good. You need to go to a tier 2 consulting firm, because you have a lot more freedom and flexibility to do what you like. And if you're very good, you can move very quickly also in a tier 2 consulting firm, because you are smart, you're intelligent, there's no restrictions, you can progress very quickly, you can become a partner very quickly, things like that. But if you prefer a very structured development, a bit slower development, but much more concrete development, you should look at a tier 1 consulting firm. But it is, the criteria for tier 1 consulting firms are extremely tight, yeah, because there are a huge number of people applying to those firms.
Sir, actually, I have joined a triple P partnership between government and private, and it's a new consulting started in 2017 with AIM Alumni support. I could convert the job,
Right.
but the culture over here is, as you said, it's quite entrepreneurial.
Correct.
Everything I'll have to build, but in terms of McKinsey or BCG, I just wanted to know what I'm missing, or are there any opportunities, or the project opportunities? Is there any difference, or it's more of a, I mean, it depends.
No, see, the type of projects that the tier 1 consulting firms will do is always at a higher profile, right? Because they tend to get, because let us say a General Motors or an Apple or a Nokia or whoever wants to give a consulting firm, they also have a brand concept. So they tend to, all these very high-end projects tend to go to the tier 1 consulting firms, right? But it doesn't mean that the tier 2 consulting firms, see, whether you are consulting for a General Motors or whether you are consulting for a tier 2 operator, doesn't mean the consulting engagement is weaker. It may be actually more difficult to consult to a tier 2 firm. It may be easier to consult for Apple, for example, right? So I'm just saying that the tier 1 consulting firms tend to get the more high profile jobs. It doesn't mean it is a better consulting engagement. I don't think so. Because we also work with tier 1 clients and tier 2 clients. Actually, my learning is better when I work with tier 2 clients because they are not structured and we need to help them much more than how we help a tier 1 firm, right? So helping a tier 1 firm is actually much more easier, right? When something is much more easier, your learning is getting compromised. You learn much more when you are working in a much more tougher situation, because when you're in tough situations, you learn much quicker, right? So it's not easy to say what is good or bad, but these are the differences, right? Tier 1 consulting firms, much more structured. They tend to work on higher profile jobs. The whole thing is much more structured. Your development is much more systematic. The other one is like a startup. So it depends on whether you like a startup environment, which lot of freedom, with not of, you will not get a lot of coaching. There's nobody is going to tell you what to do. If you like it, you should go there. If you want a structured development, it's the other one. The best is to try both, but that's very difficult, that we are getting too ambitious. If you can get a mix of both experience, that's very good.
Yeah, that's what my next question is. Is it possible to switch between small scale to big scale? Because I think it's easier to come from McKinsey to smaller consultancy, but is it possible to go from smaller to the higher consultancy?
You can, but you will lose a few years when you make the switch. Right. So there are many people who have come to ADL, but they lose 2 to 3 years when they come in. But if they are very good, they catch up. See, what happens is, let us say somebody came into ADL and somebody worked elsewhere. But by working elsewhere in a unsystematic environment, if you are good, you actually develop much more than a person who was in ADL, because you understand what I'm saying, right? So when you work in a tier 2 consulting firm or an entrepreneurial setup versus ADL, in ADL, he understood ADL and we trained him very well. A person who worked outside ADL in a much more tougher environment, if he's very smart, actually as a person has developed better than a person who developed within ADL. Because he has gone to more struggles in life, right? But since he doesn't have consulting experience, we bring him at 2 to 3 years at a disadvantage, right? But because of his experience before ADL, over a period of time, it starts reflecting and he overtakes the other person. You see how it works, right? And what I'm saying is based on real examples. So people who come from outside, which have gone through unstructured entrepreneurial projects and all, they come into ADL at a lower level compared to somebody of the same age, for example. But since they have gone through tougher times in life, they learn quicker than somebody who has been in ADL. And this person is very good. He actually overtakes the person. But so you may lose 2 to 3 years, but in 5 to 6 years time, you may overtake the other person. So if you're switching from a tier 2 firm to a tier 1 firm, and if you are willing to take a long-term view, it's actually good.
Thank you, sir. That's quite helpful.
Am I clear or am I confusing you?
No. It's quite clear. It give me a different perspective.
Thomas, I just want to, for them, on their behalf, how long they should remain. Now it's a thin line. Some people do mass application, some people are choosy. Okay. So what is the threshold? Should they take a job which is okay and start with it, or wait for that proverbial thing? How should one balance in today's scenario?
You should take, the most important thing is to start work as soon as possible. I am extremely clear in my mind. You keep trying for the job that you like, but you take the first job you get. Because, as I told you, the proverbial job is good is a myth. The assumption that we all make that a particular job is good and not good is wrong. I can tell you from consulting, let me tell you from a consulting experience. Nobody wants to do very tough consulting projects, very complicated projects. People want to do easy projects. When you're working on a very tough consulting project, you hate it. Saying that, shit, man, this is so painful and my life is so miserable. The client is an asshole and you fed up with this. But once you finish that project, that person has learned 10 times more than a person who worked on a normal good project. You see what I'm saying? So the point is that working in any environment, any situation is always good for your experience. Sitting idle is shit. If you have no job, take a waiter job in McDonald's. It's still better because you learn something. Seriously, I'm telling you. By just trying to serve people and what the bloody shout at you, it's a learning in life. So take any job you get, take it. And then you keep trying. It is stupid to wait for a job. It is really stupid. If you don't get any job and you get a job opposite AIM to do a serving of burgers in McDonald's, take it. You don't understand the experience of it. It is a good experience.
So another thing I wanted to ask you is that now we have seen there are around 9 people, right, who are looking for jobs. I mean, Amrut has got one, but how many people are now still looking? I mean, how many are there? Out of a batch of 17, 5, 6 are based in the Philippines, right? Some are married or something. So how is it like? I mean, some are on exchange. Because what has happened is, Thomas, because of this COVID, even the exchange, the poor guy who went to, who was supposed to go to Wharton, is attending Wharton sitting in Tamil Nadu. Okay, he's attending classes like that. So exchange program has taken place, but not like that. So the reason I wanted you all to talk to these guys is because in the pandemic, unfortunately, we had nearly 2 years of MBA. Then the school shortened it to 16 months. These guys, when they went there, they came to know it's 12 months. So it was September to September. And you know, December is always closed because of Christmas and all that. And by the mid-March, they had to come back to India. So they have not really felt the case study of AIM. It's hardly for 3 or 3.5 months, September, October, November, and Jan, Feb, nearly 3.5 to 4 months out of the 12 months. So they have lost the case study. They have been the guinea pigs for the online thing. So what is your suggestion to them? Because, you know, how to cope up in this pandemic? I mean, just a general thing. How it
See, the only way to is to do some jobs. That's the only other way. The other option is that all of you get together and have discussions, case studies, because a case study is actually a discussion facilitated by somebody, right? So you can actually do case studies on your own if you have a group of 10, 15 students. The case studies are actually very, very, very good, right? That is something that enables you to structure your thinking and debate and all of that, because if you missed out on case study discussion, that will really impact your performance in an interview for sure. That is something for sure. So if you have really missed on case studies, it is always good for you to get together and go through the case studies with one of you can facilitate it. You don't actually need a professor to facilitate. Take roles in facilitating, because even facilitating a case discussion is a very good learning, right? So we can, you should do that. The other option is, again, I'm repeating what I said, just take whatever job you get and try applying what you have learned in AIM, right? The situation is quite weak for the job market as of now, unfortunately, right? But again, that's also an experience. Take it as an experience that you are getting. You never get this again in your life. I'm telling you. Yeah.
Any other questions, Sandeep, Aditi, Jagan?
Or you can start something entrepreneurial.
Correct.
Another thing that you can do is, see, there is a lot of advantage of doing entrepreneurial things now versus 2 years back or 5 or 10 years back, because lot of things are fundamentally changing, right? And if you look at all the entrepreneurial things, it is always done by people with very fresh minds. You see, if you look at all the entrepreneurial things that is being done in the world, it is never based on an experience of somebody. Even if you take Google or Amazon or Uber or all these companies who have gone into billion dollars of companies, it is not based on their experience they have had in life. It's always a new idea, right? And today, because of this fundamental changes and digitalization, the scope of new ideas are tremendously higher than what was the case before COVID. So the probability of having more entrepreneurial ideas and successful entrepreneurial ideas are much higher today because of digitalization. So even as an entrepreneur, the chances of becoming a successful entrepreneur is higher today versus 2 years back. So you may also want to think about it very, very seriously, whether you can do something on your own. And the younger you are, the fresher you actually have an advantage, because your mind is not corrupted with anything, right? It's more difficult for people who are like 40 years old, 50 years old, who have done something for 20, 25 years. For them, it is very difficult to come up with entrepreneurial ideas. It's always much easier for younger people like you who are fresh out of school or 4 or 5 years of experience to come up with ideas, right? So that is always a very, very good option. Yeah.
So any closing question from the three of you all? If there is anything? Or,
sir, I have a question.
Sure.
So it's actually related to the initial question. So I was thinking of changing the field, the industry, but so due to COVID, due to the pandemic, now I'm not thinking about it anymore. However, sir, even pre-pandemic, if someone wanted to shift to a new field, change the field from information technology to FMCG, was it again the same that they had to go at a lower level?
They have to go at a lower level.
Same thing. Okay, got that.
See, but again, one thing you have to understand is, in corporate world, it's not like in school or college, in which first, second, third class and all of that. In corporate world, movement in a firm has nothing to do with time period. So even if you go at a lower level, doesn't mean you cannot quickly grow. Like if you look at people in management, let us say Google head, or for example, he's one of the youngest people. You see, so what I'm trying to tell you is, you should not be worried that you're going at because what happens is, whichever level you go, it doesn't matter. Quickly, the organization realizes how good or not good you are, and you'll quickly adjust all of that, right? So you should never feel bad about the level that you join in. It's not like a educational institute in which first, then second, every place 1 year. No, that's not the corporate world. Corporate world just looks at people. There are people who have grown from clerical staff has become CEOs, correct? There are people who have come assistant CEO and remained assistant CEO for 25 years. You see what I'm trying to say? So the level at which you are going in is relevant only for a very short duration. If you are good, you move up. And there is always a preference for younger people to go into management roles. Really, right? Yeah, they want young people to go up very quickly, right? So just because you joined at a lower level doesn't mean you will be stuck there. No, it's actually the contrary to that. If somebody is at a lower level and somebody finds out, wow, this person is good, you will move very quickly in the corporate world, very quickly.
So Thomas, any vacancy in Authority Little India?
You can send the CVs to me. You can connect me on LinkedIn and you can send it. I can send it to ADL in India. Yeah. But it will be tough. Yeah, I can tell you that the criteria of screening is really, really tough, right? But we can always try. I don't know whether something will click in your CV and maybe they will consider. So you can always connect me on LinkedIn, send me your CV. I will put it to the HR hiring team and they will come back to you. Yeah, absolutely fine.
Any questions from Jagan or Sandeep? Otherwise, I'll call it a day.
Just one quick question, Thomas. I'm sorry if that's a wrong question. I'm applying to many places these days through LinkedIn and other platforms like Glassdoor and IM Jobs and other portals like Naukri and all. Unfortunately, never ever heard of a single reply from anybody right till date.
In Glassdoor?
Is it through Glassdoor? So the portal is Glassdoor like LinkedIn. So I'm applying through Glassdoor. There are a lot of vacancies coming through Glassdoor.com. It's a portal like Naukri.com.
No, these days, all these digital websites have got flooded, and people are like, it's very unfortunate. I can tell you, like, just on LinkedIn itself, each day I get something like 40 to 50 applications. So it is very, very, I actually have somebody to screen through my LinkedIn inbox, because I think it is a mandatory to reply, because you cannot spoil your image in the market. So I always 100% of my LinkedIn messages are replied 100%. But I think you should also appreciate that it is not difficult. People get 50 to 100 messages on LinkedIn on a per day basis, right? So I'm not surprised that people don't. You may think that what does it take for a? It's a 30 seconds to reply, but when you're replying to 100, it's already an hour. You see what's happening. That is the other issue of this digital environment, right? You get. It's not like writing a letter, because it takes a lot of time to write a letter, post it, put it in an envelope, and all of that. You don't get so many of them. Now digital, it's like heavily loaded. So unless you put in some very eye-catching message, it's very unlikely for people to. If you just say I'm applying, they will not even open it, unfortunately, right? So you need to have some eye-catching first or second line, or a header line, or something like that. So if you're applying for project finance, the first heading itself to say, I have 15 years of project finance experience. That should be the first line. If that is not in the first line, forget it. It's not even open. You see what I'm saying? Yeah.
Again, any question?
I had one thing in my mind. How important is it the work level in terms of corporate career? Because many times I see people becoming experts but still remaining there. And how important is for the stable?
Okay. Can you repeat the question? It was not very clear.
How important is the progression in the corporate level? There are many steps like executive, senior executive, then comes the managers, then directors. How important is that in terms of career progression? Like at the end of the career, does it really matter?
It depends on if you want to. It depends on how ambitious you are. As simple as that. If you think you need to grow in an organization and become at a senior position, then it is important.
Yeah.
There are some people. So even in R30 little, there are different types of people. Some people are very ambitious. They work extremely hard and they grow. Some people say, no, I don't want to work very hard and I'm okay. So I don't think there's a right or wrong answer for that. It is your own view. If you're ambitious, then you will work hard and you would like to grow faster and progress in a corporate.
Okay. My question is that
there are some people, I can also give you examples of people saying that I want to give more importance to my family. I don't want to work more than 7-8 hours, and they will spend more time with their family. So who are we to say what is important or less important? I'm just giving another extreme example, right? You're talking about working hard and progressing. What about a situation in which somebody says that I have to spend time with my wife and kids at home, and hence I'm willing to compromise on the hours I put in an office, and I'm willing to compromise from becoming a CEO because I get to spend more time with my wife and kids. You see? So what I'm trying to do, there's no right or wrong answer. This is a purely your personal choice. Are you career? Are you ambitious? Do you want to grow? Because whatever you do, something is getting compromised, right?
Yeah. My question was that should I become a subject matter expert or a people manager?
People manager will always has the more senior you become, or the capabilities required at a higher level is more people skills than technical skills.
Yeah.
So if you're ambitious and if you want to grow in an organization, the importance of people skills takes over technical skills.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because the reason is because the problem is with technical skills, you cannot run a group of people, because at the end of it, running a business is not about technical skills. Actually, it is not about. It is about how do you attract, motivate, promote, and cultivate people.
Yes, sir.
Because if you can do that, if somebody is not good, you throw him and bring another technical person. You see what I'm saying? So the point is not about whether you are technical. The point is, can you bring technical people, motivate them, and keep them? You don't. I need not be the best. I can be the worst consultant in ADL, but if I'm able to motivate my consultants, I will be the boss of ADL.
Okay.
You see what I mean? So people skills are by far, I had the wrong impression when I finished my MBA. It's a very good question. And I always used to wonder, like the people are just talking and managing people. This is a shitty job. No, it's actually not, because the most important criteria in business is your ability to keep people motivated and work hard, right? You need people to work 10, 15 and still be happy about it.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with your technical skills. It is 100% to do your capability to manage people.
Okay, sir.
And that is by far a very, very important criteria if you want to grow in an organization.
Okay. Now I changed my perspective. Why people skills are so important.
Not also, it 90% importance is of people skills. 90%.
What he said is, 100% true. I mean, I run an MSME, and I'm not an engineer, and I'm managing an electrical firm. Okay. At the end of the day, how you get things done, that is more important, and how you get it. So what Thomas said is correct. So just go ahead and do it, and don't have too many questions. And one thing, what I totally agree with Thomas is, get a free job, whatever you get. Don't be too choosy and picky. I want to do this. Just to give an example, Thomas, a couple of years back, some people were getting recruited someplace. Okay, I will not name because I'm recording this, so I don't want people to know. So what happened was, for one job, okay, there were two people, and the company wanted one guy to join him, but that guy was choosy, said I have other interviews. The other guy got in and is working for last 1 year. But the other fellow who was thought that he will get a job, pandemic came in and is still giving interviews. You know,
right?
So what you said is 100% true. Just don't miss the bus. That's how it is. So I think it has been a very educative and engaging session. And thank you, Thomas, very much.
Sure.
And thank you, guys. I hope you can benefit. When Thomas and we graduated, we didn't have such facilities. We had to grapple among ourselves. You guys are blessed that you are having such senior alumnus coming board, and we have digital world. So make most of it, and all the best.
Yeah, anytime you can contact me over LinkedIn. I'm just Thomas Kuruvilla, Arthur D. Little. I'm on LinkedIn. You can contact me. Every message will be replied for 100% sure. So just anytime, up to you.
But it will be screened, correct? No?
Sorry?
It will be screened first.
No. It will reply.
100%
I'll reply.
Yeah. Thank you, Thomas. And thank you, Aditi, Sandeep, Jagan, and Amrut. Thank you for your time. I hope it has been beneficial. Okay?
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks, Thomas.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.